We are live on Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, Telegram, and YouTube. This is Campaign for America, episode 45. And today we're going to be talking about the ball doctrine of it and also UN corruption. The UN acts against its charter. So, with that being said, let's read our disclaimer and then we will begin and play the intro and then let Dennis do some housekeeping, give us some updates. The views expressed on this show are expressly the views of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or opinions of newsforus.world, its hosts, broadcasters, or affiliates. Remember, folks, always use your own discernment when viewing. We encourage our viewers to think for themselves. All right, welcome everybody. This is episode 45 of Campaign for America. So let's begin our intro.
In 1980, Ronald Reagan wore a white suit, a red tie, and a white shirt and addressed the nation. Hi, I am Dennis Andrew Ball, and I am running for President of the United States. I am talking to you right now because the debates that were conducted this week need to have a presidential response. The economic issues that both Barack Obama and Mitt Romney answered created in the minds of many of us unanswered questions of how do you sustain economic growth in the United States of America. In light of the decisions and the events that have happened since 2008, what do we need to do to reduce the deficit, increase job creation, maintain Social Security and Medicare, and provide the opportunity for our children and future generations not only to survive, but to thrive in a global economy? I would like to talk to you quickly on how I perceive what needs to happen. The United States of America at this time is suffering because the means of production have not equaled the ends of production that it requires in order to sustain its middle class. The United States of America must reindustrialize itself to make it possible that 23 million Americans can go back to work in industries that are productive for themselves and their families. What we are witnessing on a daily basis is the demise of the American family, the traditional American family, of children, parents, and grandparents, by people in authority who have used, abused, and misused their positions to hurt our people. This must stop, and it will under my administration. The need at this moment of time is to get our organs of power in business to invest in research and development to make it possible for industry to not only survive in America, but also to thrive. My attitude is that the production capability of the United States is equal to none. Our workers are very productive if given the opportunity, but they must be protected by government that concerns themselves with their best interests. And that has been a problem for many years in this country. My attitude also is that in order for our people to get themselves in a position to care for themselves and their children, we have to evaluate at this moment in time what is important for that to happen. And I believe that it will be more of a decision on the part of the American people when they go to the voting booth to decide who they think is best qualified to do that job. I believe also that we are in a position to make decisions that will impact the course of history and to bring about positive change in the lives of our family structure. I want to say that in order to do that, the means of production will have to be a top priority to reindustrialize the middle class and to provide the support for the future generations. I want to say this, that in terms of how we go about this business, the President of the United States should be very aware of what has happened and what needs to happen. My interest at this time is to educate through my administration of candidacy for presidency to make it possible for you to learn more about me and to decide if you are better off since the election of Barack Obama and the changes that need to happen in terms of the increase in gas prices, in food prices, the mortgage forfeitures that have happened since him, and also what we will do in the future to make it possible for more people to be employed out of 23 million who are not. Consider this opportunity to communicate to your friends and your neighbors my thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from you. I need presidential electors who will vote for me through the Electoral College when I win the states in this country to become your next president. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Since the last show we did on number 44. I am quite busy here with this campaign in Florida, but we are making progress with other places and other places and other people. And the key that we're working on right now is to get the billboards up, get the TV ads going, bring in the donors, bring in the network, make that a real priority. Also, I'm looking at a Capitol appearance on the 13th of November, possibly as early as the 5th of November as well. Possibly that 8-day period between the two, we'll see. But there will be a Capitol appearance as a consequence of the events that are continuing to be planned, space and science museums. I'm working on that book. I'm working to finish it, called Full Disclosure. We are not alone. I am on the 5th chapter with the Webb telescope. The Hubble telescope gave rise to the Webb telescope because of the photography that was coming out of Hubble. Hubble was repaired, as you know, from some damage on the launch of its spacecraft into orbit. The name Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun was the director of NASA at one time, and he was also a Nazi scientist who developed the V2 rocket When Germany surrendered, he was brought to the United States under Operation Paperclip.
Yep.
He brought 1,600 German scientists with him. These people developed the V2. They also developed the Saturn V. And that was the rocket that took Apollo 7, I believe, mission to the moon, where Neil Armstrong set foot as the first astronaut in history. As I sit here today, I am hopeful that we will get some callers. I have advertised this show today all over. How are we on equipment as far as people who call in? Do you have a call waiting now, or is it
I have
they're
no
going
calls coming in. I have no calls coming in right now, but we do have the lines open for people that want to call in. They'll feel free to excuse me. Feel free to do so now if you want to call in and ask questions. We have the line open, but no calls.
right? I mean, you bet. And as it sits here with the 702-482-8620, if they call in, will they get a busy signal? If
No,
somebody
it'll ring in. I'll hear it on my end, and then I'll be able to answer it.
But I mean, say we had 5 people call at the same time.
No, it shouldn't. It should give me a notification when I have a call coming in whenever we're on the line with somebody. So it shouldn't be an issue. I don't know why it was having an issue that one day, but it's not had any issues since. So
Okay.
and
Well,
through Google Voice number, so possibly that was why. But it's worked.
I see.
So it worked fine last time I tested it. So
I see. Okay. Well, very good. Well, very good. Now, today's show is around the ball doctrine. Now, I believe you have the book on your end. I was wondering if you could bring it up so that people can see it.
Organized up. I'd have to look for it. Honestly, I don't even have it on hand by me right now because when I was cleaning and remodeling the apartment, making this into an office space, I moved a lot of stuff around. So I'm not even sure. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it.
Folks, while he's looking for the book, I want to bring it to your attention that I learned today that in New York, this Hamas and Israel problem is expanding and it's getting worse. As a result, we're having a lot of delays in my ability to get to the United Nations, and I need to get there. I do. I need to get there to distribute the ball doctrine, creating peace and prosperity in every nation. I need to get there because the world is in the crosshairs of a terrible evil that has come about and visiting us again since World War II. Over 9,000 people have died in the Israeli-Hamas conflict, and more is expected. We have a problem here in terms of attitudes about people and places. We also have an attitude toward power and control of other people. And people in these countries who do not agree will put everyone in the position to have to decide who they're going to serve. As far as I am concerned, I serve only one, and that is God. And that is the Lord Jesus Christ, who I believe died for our sins. That is an important aspect.
I found one nation. I don't know where the other one is, but I can bring it up on the screen, on a screen share, on a screenshot.
Please bring that up now if you can.
Will do.
Because I'm talking about it right now, the ball doctrine. And I expressed to the audience that New York is becoming a battle zone, which I expected it might. The amount of protests and violence is growing there. I learned today on I think it's the John Kilman show, and I may be incorrect as far as the name of this person, but He has a talk show in the morning, and he is talking about what's going on in New York City, and it's not pretty. So, as a consequence, I am in a position to hold off making reservations to get to the UN until things slow down, because I don't want to get caught in the middle of that. So did you find the screenshot on the book?
I'm getting it right now.
Okay, great. Yeah, because there's something I want to talk about in the book, because I want people to realize this. I've been talking to people in the campaign this week. Some people have bought the book. And those who have bought the book, I'm talking to them about certain pages in the book. And then I'm talking about another book that talks about what the book talked about in the Ball Doctrine and expanded it. There's a book called Full Circle, America's Dirty Dark Secret. And we're going to talk about that too today in conjunction with the Ball Doctrine, because they're hand in glove. They serve each other. And it's very important that we connect the dots here, because our society has become so dumbed down to the facts and the truth that needs to be explained to them and have an opportunity to respond in kind.
All right, I almost have it up
So,
here on the desktop. All right, go ahead, continue.
right. So, as soon as I can see the screenshot, this will help us to move forward here with this discussion.
Here we go.
Yes. Good. Here, let me do this. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's good. Okay, folks, now this is the Ball Doctrine, Creating Peace and Prosperity in Every Nation. I wrote this book in 2013. This book was published just before President Kennedy's 50th anniversary of his death on November 22nd, 1963. We are coming up, I believe it is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the 60th anniversary of his death. 60. But the good news was I had the book published just prior to the 50th anniversary of his passing. Yeah, keep the book up, Steve, please, because
I am. I just was loading it up on the Windows photo viewer so I could zoom in better.
okay, yeah, if you can bring it back a little bit so the whole book can be seen. It's only half there. Keep going back there, right there. Good. Okay. Now, people, this book is about creating a middle class in every nation. Why? Because colonialism is dead. It's not coming back. There has to be an answer, folks, to the conflicts that exist in the nation, in the world. As TR would say, if you're not an American, get out. If you are an American, then make yourself known. And that's what this book does, because we talk about the facts about creating a middle class and sustaining it. If you recall in today's show,
what is the benefits of what will that help do for each nation by doing so, by creating a middle class? What will that do economically speaking is basically what I want people to understand. So explain to them a little bit how that works, if you can.
Right. What this amounts to is that in every nation, there are families. Every nation has families. Children, parents, grandparents. Every nation needs support for its families. Children in the Philippines, children in Pakistan, in the Middle East, either swimming for sponges or making bricks. They should be in school learning. But that's because their governments have not thought it well enough for their families, and that's a fact, to invest in the families so that the children have a chance not only to survive, but to thrive in a global economy. Therein lies the magic of this doctrine. And I believe if President Kennedy were alive, he would support that. I have found that the Ball Doctrine has a chance to make history because it also follows, and this is very important, on page 46 of this book, President Lincoln talks to his field commander, Colonel William Elkins, about his fear for the nation then. And this was in 1864, actually November 21st, 1864. He writes this letter to Colonel Elkins as to what he fears for America. And he talks about that the prejudices of the people would be worked against us, that corporations would own the country, we would lose our rights as a society. And
Happening now, he was right. I mean,
well, yeah, just listen to me. I am echoing what he said in 1864 to his field commander. Now, I also have said today that there is another book I wrote called Full Circle, America's Dirty Dark Secret. It's on Amazon. You can get this book also. This book talks about Rutherford B. Hayes, President Hayes, who was a president of the United States. He said when he became president, he said, I'm only going to be a 4-year president, a one-term president. And I'm going to tell you right now, America has been lost to corporations. Now, this was I believe it was in 1889 or 1891, right in that zone, when he became president. I believe he was a Republican. But he'd said that America had lost its way and that the nation was no longer a nation of individuals, but corporations. And he was echoing what President Lincoln said in 1864. I bring this up because that's where we are as a society. We are no longer a nation of individuals. We are a nation of corporations, and we are a number to this government. As a result, we are used, abused, and misused financially and for anything else that they dictate to us. This is wrong because this is unconstitutional. It has not been held accountable, and the American people don't understand their own country. And as a result, here we are in this crisis, and we need to get it straight. We need to get it understood. We had 22 people either injured or dead last week in Maine by a quote unquote veteran who had to be either a convert to Islam or psychologically impaired
or
to where he lived in a culture of death. I live in a culture of life. I live to see the day where children and families have the support not only to survive, but thrive, not only in America, but around the world. Praise God. I know of nobody else who has come up with this important doctrine to introduce to the world, and that is what I'm taking to the United Nations. This is what I believe must happen. I've written another book called the United Nations Agenda 21, The Big Lie. Incidentally, it's my best-selling book. But this book talks about sustainable development, open borders, depopulation, stack and pack in terms of condos and apartments and housing. If you look in our cities, that's what's going on. They're building condos and housing like apartments. Houses are gone. Why is that? It's because of Agenda 21 and people who want to dictate how we live, where we live, what we do, who we do it with, and basically strip us of our rights and tell us, if you don't do what I want you to do, we may kill you. And COVID-19 has proved that. The vaccinations.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they went all out on those. I mean, with all the mandated stuff and all the threatening people with their jobs, and look what they've done with it. I mean, it's really it's been an attack on the people of the world, really.
Exactly. And so, I say to the American people, think first what our country has become, act and do what must be done. President Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Those themes are endemic for a free people. And I wish people would get serious about this, because it is a truth. And getting educated is so important for a free society to maintain itself. Personally, I have always believed that the citizenry is the vanguard of society. I was shocked when my mother and father passed away and their property and money and estate was absconded with by people
Well,
who took an oath to
we are the
preserve and
vanguard.
protect it.
We are the vanguard because look at what's happening now because of the mainstream's complicity, and we got all these alternate media podcasters popping up all over the place. We're having like a renaissance of alternate news. In a lot of ways. And I think that's why we're seeing the numbers rise so much in that arena because nobody's believing the mainstream anymore. Just look at CNN. They just shut down their Atlanta, Georgia freaking facility because of lack of freaking viewers.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And not only that, they've had to do a contract with the cable networks because they can't stay afloat on the ad revenue anymore alone. So, I mean, that right there tells you everything you need to know. People aren't watching anymore. And that speaks to what he's talking about.
So right now, what we're dealing with is a crisis. It is continuing to show what it is. And our time is now, people. We must act. We can't sit on our laurels. We've got to move.
Yep.
And leadership is the issue. So as I sit here listening to what you have to say today, Stephen, all of this is very important. And the ball doctrine is something I think everyone should get a hold of. I'm going to pass out several copies when I get to New York. When I get to New York, it's not going to be an if to New York, it's going to be a when to New York. But it's got to slow down up there. It's just too crazy right now for me to go up there. And so as a result, this is very good that we're doing this show on the ball doctrine and creating an opportunity for people to learn more about it. And I describe in the book what we can do for each of these nations to produce a middle class of industrial production. Believe it or not, John Kerry, who ran for president at one time, said that there will be 69 million jobs needed to be created in the Middle East. I believe him. Oil is not sustainable in any economy. Right now, they want to remove oil from electric cars and make only electric cars.
Do they not realize how much pollution and stuff goes into processing the lithium for the batteries of those cars? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And not only that, they're highly combustible too.
I believe you're right. And I have a theory, and I have produced it, and I even sent it. I went over to the Arizona State University in Phoenix, Arizona with it to talk about self-electric charging stations within a car itself, where the wheels would have generators and there would be a solar skin on the car itself. And I have seen some video on
I've heard of this as well. Yeah, I've heard of this as well.
Where this car has solar panels on the car and has generators in the wheels, and it creates free energy. And so we're talking about perpetual motion here.
Yep.
And it follows the first law of thermodynamics, that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but is changed, and you can recover the work out of the wheels and the panels, the solar panels, to sustain the vehicle, including the batteries. You store energy in the batteries.
Think about it, folks. They don't want you to know this stuff because there's no money in it for them.
You think? Well, that's it. I mean,
But, as an engineer myself, and not only, a standard engineer, but a software engineer, I can speak to that. These methods, there's solid foundations of stuff that works. What he's talking about, it's solid foundation. It works, but you don't ever hear about it. All these patents are bought up by these corporations, and then they're buried, folks, because there's no money in it for them. They don't want this information out there. But this is totally feasible stuff, very simple, basic laws of physics stuff that you can build. But they don't ever want us to know about it because then it would allow us to be independent of their system.
Well, I want to be independent of their system.
I do too. Their system is a debt slave system. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's got to go.
I believe you're right. And, I've got another book called The Fair Deal. Talks about the income tax being totally unconstitutional, and we should not be paying it. And we should be in a position where this government runs on tariffs and a fair tax, sales tax on products.
Back to the way it used to be. That's
exactly.
The country was founded. That's supposed to be.
Right. The founders never wanted an income tax. They were opposed to it. The crown, the English people, the crown, the king of Britain, King George, wanted to tax them. They didn't want that. They didn't want it to be taxed on anything.
No tax, folks.
We recognize you have to do something to fund your government. I get that. But not to the extreme where your property, your money, your family is being attacked by your own government. And that's what we've got now. The government is warring against the family big time. And this is unacceptable. And that is why I'm here, people. As a presidential candidate, as president of the United States, I will do what is necessary to fix this problem. I am the wrecking ball. Praise God.
You want to get into the UN acting against this charter? I think people would be interested to know about that. What's going on there?
Well, yeah, because the UN Charter originally was human rights and supporting them, especially when Israel in 1948 came into the UN. The war with the Nazi Germany and Hitler, all of the human rights that were destroyed by a dictatorship, including what happened in the Soviet Union with Stalin, they all felt that there was a need to support human rights, including Eleanor Roosevelt, who wrote a paper called the Declaration of Human Rights. And she was there when all of this was done. It was signed by the nations when the nations became the UN and decided that this was what we needed to have in order for our country and our world to be in a much better place politically, diplomatically, and economically to support the nations of the world. Now we have a problem with the charter because they're ignoring it, just like our Constitution. The nations of the UN are acting indifferent toward the charter that was created to support human rights and national hegemony, harmony, and to provide support for nations that find themselves in conflict. That's why I have learned in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro where a conference was done and led by a socialist lady. I don't know her name, but she led the conference and she was a socialist, and her attitude was Agenda 21 in terms of creating a society where individuals would be normalized throughout, the state would own everything, and individual liberty would be censored. That is their agenda. Unfortunately, what happens in socialism is that they use other people's money, and eventually the money dries up and everything collapses. There is not one socialist nation in the world that has been self-sustainable without infusion of additional capital to provide its support. Under free enterprise capitalism, in a free market society where products and services are of an equal value and supported, as far as I'm concerned, by a gold standard in terms of monetary currency, then you have an opportunity for people to keep what they earn and to save what they earn. And a portion of those savings goes into their living expenses and gives them the ability to provide themselves an equity cushion of economic support in their bank accounts, in their retirement accounts, in whatever they wish to invest, assuming those investments are sound, they're not fraudulent, they're not a scam. But that's not what has happened in America. We have been scammed.
We have.
I know that for a fact. I have been scammed.
Through the civil courts a lot, too.
That's it. I mean, between the courts, their orders and their dictates and their edicts, we the people have been scammed by them. I mean, there are story after story I have been told by many people about their stories and how there is no justice in the system because the people who are doing the injustice are the ones in charge.
Yep.
And that's a fact, and nobody asked for this.
No, we didn't.
But that's why I'm saying I am the wrecking ball. I will change this, and I need your support, ladies and gentlemen. Myself and my running mate, Richard Sanders. We both are here for you, as well as the AOA, the American Party of America, the American National Committee was created for you, for the family. If you're not fighting for your family, who are you working for? It's a very important question. And so these are the kinds of issues that nobody wants to talk about, yet it's the elephant in the room, and it needs to be out there, and we need to be talking about it because it's important. If we're going to have a society that works in the interests of families, we've got to communicate, and we've got to tell each other what's going on and then communicate and decide to run in office, be in politics, become the solution. Understand the family is number one. We did not create it. It was created. We are here because of divine intervention. So as I see this right now, Stephen, we have to be busy about the business of getting support, moving the message forward. And my prayer right now is to get the capital to do the marketing of the campaign and step it up into a much bigger forum for the world to see, because they need it. Nobody else is doing this. Do you know that?
Yep.
I don't know of anybody else doing it the way I'm doing it.
Well, you're definitely doing it
It
grassroots,
needs to get
very
done.
unique in your own way. And I think that's great because I think we all need to start doing this much in the same way from a grassroots level, and I think we need to just do away. In my opinion, we need to do away with the whole two-party system because it's done nothing but divide people, and we need something new. And I like what you're doing because I think it's sound. Creating a middle class in every country makes sense. I also think that advocating and being proponents of the family is also makes sense because everyone has a family. And I think that
Right.
moving forward, we need something that's based in that foundation and based in the principles of constitutional law and the Bill of Rights and all that. And that's really rooted in that as well.
And accountability.
Yes, it definitely. Well, that's first. That has to come first before we can even restore anything, of course.
Exactly. And so that's why I say, think first what our country has become, act and do what must be done. Our heritage, those crosses out there of our military survivors, as well as those who have given their lives, those crosses out there represent our history too. And we cannot erase that.
Nope.
Because they gave all. Some gave some gave all.
And we cannot
But
let the sacrifice be in vain.
exactly. Their lives cannot be in vain. We are a product of their sacrifice. Praise God. I mean it. I'll never forget this. That's what motivates me as well, plus all the abuse, all of the death. This is a crisis, but we can recover by doing the things that are necessary to make this go away. And I am dedicated to seeing this. I took an oath on Daniel Boone's grave overlooking the Kentucky River in 2015, prior to the election of 2016, when I was campaigning in Kentucky and in West Virginia and going up into New England, which I spent 6 months in Boston, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, which right now we do have a lady. Her name is Debra.Bujdos. Deborah and I communicate quite well. She has a campaign package. She understands what we're dealing with, and she likes what we're doing. Robert Gettinger, he was the one who helped us with our graphics. Those are awesome graphics. We need him out there on a billboard. That's what we need.
Yep.
We get that along with some money for television advertisements. We're going to tell this two-party system the eagle has landed. The eagle has each one of them in its talons, in its claws. The donkey and the elephant.
And here's some of those images, bringing them up on the screen share of your billboard images, your graphics.
Please do.
I'm waiting for it to load up. It says it's loading. Hold on, let me try this again. Well, go ahead, continue. It'll load up when it's ready. It's
Okay.
forever,
Right.
Loading.
Certainly, it's really quite a story here. I mean,
Oh, it looks like we can see it
there's
now.
quite a bit of it.
Some things we can't.
I see it now. Look good. Yes. Yes. And I must tell you, folks, that this is not cheap here to do these billboards. I won't get into the cost, but this is what we need to have to get this campaign exactly where it needs to be. And I am hopeful that as I continue down this path, that we will see the results of our labor, because this is important stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel called to do it. So, and I'm sure you do too, Stephen.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
There is a crisis that has to be answered. We have to fight back. We just have to.
It's definitely
And, the American people, the children of America, do not deserve to grow up in a communist nation that lost its way because of my generation, the boomers. Their parents were proud Americans.
Dennis. Are you there? You're cutting out. You froze up on us. Hold on a second, buddy. Are you there? Uh-oh. Hold on, folks. While we wait for him to return, I think his phone might have died or it froze up on him, but something happened. All right, bear with us 1 second, folks, while we get him back. I think his phone might have died. Um, so give him 1 second here. Oh yeah, his phone must have died. We'll give him a second here. But in the meantime, yeah, we'll talk about I'm gonna just briefly talk about just some of the context of what he's talking about with the corrupt, what I was mentioning with the corrupt civil courts going on in the Roger Hilligus case. We have a judge who's got an invalid bond. Oh, hold on 1 second. Dennis is calling me. Hey, oh, ooh, that's not good. Okay, I'll edit this out. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm just going to insert the actual videos the intro in place of what we had on the live when I do the edit, so it should be fine. It'll be clear and crisp. Nobody's called in as of yet, and we got about 10 minutes left on the air. So sounds good, and then we'll wrap it up, and then I'll edit. All right, sounds good. Yep. Bye. All right, folks. His phone got really hot and overheated all of a sudden, so we're just gonna wait for him to get back, and then we will wrap it up and play the outro. Weird though, because weird that I was having screen share issues too, and then all of a sudden his phone would overheat. What's going on with that? I thought that's a bit odd. This has happened before though. It's never been an issue prior to this or this other first time that it happened. Ah, here he is. He's back. Connect your audio. There we go.
All right, well, we're back.
Yeah. Sounds like someone's not wanting us to broadcast. Because I was having screen share issues. It was taking forever for the screen share to load on my end when I was screen sharing earlier, and to bring up images, those graphics, and then all of a sudden your phone overheats. We've only had that happen one other time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I do have it hooked up to the charger here in the computer room, so I'd have additional power. I'm at 98%, but I've noticed that phones can overheat depending upon the source of the power, how it's coming in.
Yeah, that's
And
true. But I think
even,
I
yeah,
think it's still odd the timing of it, right? I mean, I know just from my software engineering experience that you can also make your phone overheat via remote command if you know how to do it. So that's also a possibility, folks.
oh, wow.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I think somebody's interfering with what we're trying to do.
Would not surprise me.
Right, right.
That's true.
Here
It
we
would
are.
not
Last
surprise
the
me.
show must go on.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad we're doing this today. I'm glad we got it back.
Yep.
Like I said, I've been getting people used to the idea of calling in by the phone number and moving it forward with the books. And now, one of the gentlemen that I've been dealing with today, his name is Jerry Colangelo. He's 83 years old. I listened to an interview Sunday where he was being interviewed about his life. I don't know if you know that name. He created the Phoenix Suns. He also actually supported and created the Chicago Bull basketball team and the name of the Bulls. He was from Chicago. He grew up there. He has a storied past. It's Chicago, as we both know, can be a rough and tumble type of place, can be a deadly place too. When he grew up, it was like in the 40s. He entered into the basketball world in high school and college and participated in those sports. Believe possibly baseball too. I'm not sure on that part, but he got engaged in the basketball world to where he became fully engaged in ownership, management, and the like with players, contracts, all of that stuff, as well as coaching. He coached the Phoenix Suns in Arizona during the period where the team was just starting back in the mid to late 60s. The man has tremendous credentials and networked. His network is amazing. He has contacts with many financial people who respect families, respect law and order, respect economic growth. I believe they also respect free enterprise. Anyway, we contacted them today. I sent a press release to them, and I've encouraged people to contact them and ask them to support this campaign. I think it's very important we go and get people who can appreciate what we're doing here.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. And it's a special group who do.
Yes.
And the people who, have come from nothing and made their mark in life. He has a video out called How to Have a Happy Family, how to create a happy family or family life, how to have a happy life. I haven't looked at the video. I do have it though. And the man is a Christian man. He has, I believe, a museum at the Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona. I think it's maybe of him, maybe of his life. He says he wants to do more. Well, I can't think of a better time to do more than right now with something like what we're doing. And the thing about it is, anything that God established had a base of support. And that's where we're at right now, a base of support. We are here for you, the American people, to understand what has gone wrong and why, and how to fix it. We're the fixers.
Well, the first step to change is awareness and realization of the problem. So that's the first step.
These problems are fixable because human beings created them.
Yep, exactly.
As a consequence, by understanding these problems, we can find the solutions for them. For example, quickly, living wage jobs is skilled labor, education, and opportunity to do jobs that require skills. Skills are learned through training, through understanding. Knowledge is power. Those jobs pay money. Money is what supports families. Minimum wage jobs cannot support a family. And if you have to work several minimum wage jobs to support your family, then as far as I am concerned, there's a problem, because it was not designed to be the support of the family. How long can a person go like that? I think there are big problems there, and I don't think that's why this nation was designed to function and to survive. Therefore, I have written a book called Ballonomics, Lifting America and the World Out of Poverty from the Bottom Up. And that book is about skilled labor. All of my books talk about solutions to serious problems that have occurred over a period of time in this country. We must do something about it now. We cannot sit on our laurels and think they're going and wish them away. It's not going to happen.
Right.
We must get real, people. Our children will thank us. So think first what our country has become, act and do what must be done. I am Dennis Andrew Ball. I am a candidate for President of the United States. Your donations are appreciated at aoa-anc.org. If you have questions, you want to know things, feel free to comment and go on our website. There is a reply page there. You can communicate with us. We would appreciate it. In the meantime,
Bookstore
we
and
make history and we move forward.
yes, agreed. But if you also want to support Dennis, you can also check out his bookstore and purchase one of his books. They got a lot of great information in there, and it's a really easy read. It doesn't have a lot of complicated words. It's it's designed for the average everyday layman's user. So it's really useful and helpful information there. So I want to recommend anybody that wants to show their support can also do so by checking out your bookstore.
Thank you. Yes, this is really timely and important. I'm going to be releasing more books. I've got 8 books coming. Stephen and I have talked about a book called Full Disclosure. We are not alone. There is so much evidence to suggest we are not alone in the universe, and that those who believe that extraterrestrials do believe and come to this earth and have been here, and people have had encounters with them, as well as our own military reverse technology. There is a book called The Day After Roswell. Check it out. It's by Colonel Philip Corso. The man was directed by General Trudeau, his commanding officer, to reverse engineer debris that the military picked up at the crash sites, including night vision from one of the aliens' lenses in their iPod.
I heard they also got they also got a fiber optic technology from this as well, from what I understand.
Right. And circuits like transistors, but it's something totally different. It's way advanced.
One thing I want to point out to people that I think it's important that most people don't realize is a lot of these, reverse engineered technologies have been funneled into special access programs. What is a special access program? A special access program is a privatized, a private company contracting with the government to run research, basically, or whatever. But when you have it corporatized like that, you have more opportunity for secrecy. And so that's kind of the dilemma we're in right now with what kind of tying into what Eisenhower tried to warn us about.
Oh, for sure. And Area 51 is a testament to this. Project Blue Book is a testament to this. J. Allen Hynek is a testament to this. And all of that which has been shown and continues to be shown through different parties. Luis Elizondo, who was with Senator Harry Reid, investigation programs of the government. You've got, I believe his name is Michael Mellon, maybe. I don't know if that's his first name, but he was in the government. He was a assistant to the in the Department of Defense. A very intelligent man, and others, including Stephen Greer, Dr. Greer, very intelligent man. His knowledge is amazing.